Hello and welcome to this balloon sleeve slouchy sweater tutorial. The pattern comes from XS to 4XL, which will be soon available on my website, on my Etsy shop, as well as a printable ad-free PDF pattern. I'm also working on some spring-summer projects, so be sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell. Like this, you will know when a new video is uploaded. So let's just get into it. For this project I'm going to use ice yarns. This is Chenille Baby Light. I will drop the link in the description box. It is 100 grams, about 175 meters long, 100% microfiber, and I'm going to use a 5.5 mm hook. I did first a sample because I'm going to use the front post and the back post stitch. So I did a sample to see the gauge. To check that, you first have to do a piece of 10 by 10, usually 10 by 10 cm or 4 by 4 inches, but in Europe we use centimeters, so it's 10 by 10, but actually I did it bigger because it's not recommended to do it 10 by 10, because sometimes if you do exactly 10 by 10, you have the edges over here, so maybe you don't count right the quantity of the stitches. So what I did it way much bigger than 10 by 10. So my sample is 19 cm, which is about 8 inches. And also in the other side, like a square. Oh no, this one actually is 16 cm on this side. So I will just grab one of the stitches and I will just put it like this. So I know that here we start, and then from here, this is the first one, and then I will count 10 centimeters. Okay, here. So I will start to count how many stitches I have from here until 10 here, and I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So I have 10 stitches. Okay, and then I need 10 for this side. So I will just take out the needle and I will just put it like this, so I know where is the right side. I will keep it like this. So I will start to count from here. This is where I start. Okay, this is the first row, and I will put here 10. Okay, this is where my needle entered. So I need to count from here until number 1 how many rows I have until number 10, which is, so I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. In 10 by 10 centimeters I have 7 rows and 10 stitches this way. So this is my gauge. I will drop it also on my pattern, and you can find the gauge over there with a 5.5 mm hook. Okay, so having this gauge and calculating the measurements for size XS, which I am doing, I need 106 stitches and crochet 106 stitches. This is for size XS. For all the other sizes, I will put the pattern on my website. So 106 chains. Once I am done with 106 chain stitches, I am going to connect the last stitch with the first stitch because I'm going to work in rounds. You are free to work in panels, front panel and back panel if you want to, but I'm going to work in rounds. I will insert the hook at the first stitch and I will connect with a slip stitch. And then I'm going to crochet 3 chain stitches. 1, 2, and 3, which actually are the first double crochet. They count as a double crochet. Insert the hook in the next chain stitch and crochet a double crochet stitch, and you are going to crochet double crochet stitches in all the stitches one by one. Continue crocheting double crochet stitches all around until you arrive at the last one, so you have in total 106 double crochet stitches. Okay, once you arrive at the end, make sure that this is both ends and you don't have any twinkling like this. So make sure that all is in the right side. Now I will just insert the hook, chain number 3, 1, 2, 3, chain number 3, slip stitch. And I will do 3 chains again, 1, 2, 3. So this is the first double crochet, and then I will work a front post. So insert the hook at the next stitch, but from the front to the back and to the side. You have to grab the stitch like this. This is front post. It will look like this in the back. So you have to grab the stitch from the side. And then pull through and pull up a loop, and then just work as a normal double crochet. This is a front post double crochet, so it's a double crochet that is worked in the front of the stitch. So again, next stitch, insert the hook on both sides, pull up a yarn, and then double crochet. I have a tutorial for that. I will put it up here, which explains in details front post and back post. And then I will just work all around with front post double crochet, all the stitches one by one, until I arrive at the end 106 stitches in total for the size XS. So it will look like this. Keep working that all around. Okay, here we are. I finished the second round with front post double crochet, and then we arrived at the last stitch. Of course, the last stitch we do 1, 2, 3, chain number 3, insert the hook and slip stitch like this. We finished round number 2. We are going to work like this now in rounds with a front post double crochet. One side is going to look a little bit like this, but that's okay. And then we just work like this, all in rounds with front post double crochet. We will work until we arrive at the armpit length. So what we do is, again, 3 chains, and just work all the stitches one by one with a front post double crochet. Okay, it will look like this, and keep crocheting front post double crochets all around. Once I finished all 24 rounds with the front post double crochet, your work is going to look like this. And I also put a marker on both sides. So each marker is the first stitch of the 53 stitches for one panel, because we had 160 stitches, and by 2 it's 53 stitches per side. Okay, so now I'm going to work half of the stitches, so from the marker that I have put until the last stitch, the one stitch before the other marker. Until here I have 53 stitches, so half of the stitches. I'm going to work the back panel, so I will do 3 chain stitches where I finish the round, so I will do 3 chain stitches, and I will crochet the next stitch, so 1, 2, and 3, and I will crochet the next stitch with the front post double crochet until one stitch before the marker. So together with the 3 chain stitches, in total there will be 53 stitches, from which 52 are front post double crochet, and one of them is the 3 chain stitches. So your work is going to look like this. Continue until you have 53 stitches in total. So once I finish 53 stitches, I have to turn my work on the other side, and now I'm going to work the same 53 stitches, but now from the back post double crochet. So I'm going to do 3 chains, which correspond to actually the first stitch. So now I'm going to work the second double crochet, the second stitch, but with a back post double crochet now, because we are working the back panel but from the wrong side. So this is how a back post double crochet is made, is crocheted. So I will crochet back post double crochet until I arrive at the end. So I will have 52 back post double crochets plus the 3 chain stitches, so in total 53 stitches. Continue crocheting until the end. Okay, here we are. I finished the second row with back post, and now 3 chains, turn my work, and I will work front post. So if I work on the front, I will work front post. If I work on the back, I will work back post, double crochet, and I will work like this until I have in total 22 rows in the back. I finished the back panel for 22 rows. This is how it is looking like, and I'm going to turn my work now, and I'm going to start and work the front panel for 15 rows. So I'm going to start where I have the green marker, and here I'm going from the green marker I'm going to work 53 stitches again with the front post or back post double crochet from the green marker until I arrive 1 stitch before the yellow marker. So I will alternate for 15 rows, and then I am going to start the pattern for the collar. Once finished 15 rows of the front panel, we will divide the stitches in 3 sections, 19, 15 for the neck, and another 19. We will work these 19 stitches on both sides, back and forth, alternating front post double crochet and back post double crochet for 7 rows. We have finished our work on the right side, so we are going to do 3 chain stitches, which are actually corresponding to the first stitch, double crochet stitch. So now we are going to work the second stitch, of course with the back post double crochet, because we are working on the wrong side now. So this is stitch number 2, so we are going to work another 17 back post double crochet stitches. Together with the 3 chain stitches there are going to be 19. So keep crocheting, 19 back post double crochet stitches in total. It will look like this. I finished 19 stitches, double crochet stitches, 3 chains, and I'm going to turn my work now, and I'm going to work from the front side, which means that I'm going to work 18 front post double crochet stitches now, and I will alternate until I have 7 rows with 19 front post or back post double crochet stitches. I will finish 7 rows. So I will work the second stitch now with the front post double crochet until the end. Okay, here I am. I finished 7 rows, alternating front post and back post double crochet. And here I'm going to cut the yarn, do 1 chain stitch and then pull the yarn. I'm going to leave some yarn because I need this for the sewing, and I'm going to cut, and this is one part of the shoulder done, yeah, so I'm going to use that for the sewing, and I'm going to repeat the same action for the other side. So I'm going to work back and forth for 7 rows, another 19 stitches on this other side. Once I finish both sides with 19 rows, I will start to sew. For that, I am going to count in the back side 19 stitches. So I am going to sew together. I can sew from the outside part, it's not a problem, because this kind of yarn, it's a very, you cannot see actually. So I will sew 90 stitches together. So 19 in the front, 19 in the back. Don't do a mistake to have 1 stitch less or 1 stitch more. And then I will just cut, hide the yarn, and I will cut. So as I did one shoulder, I'm going to sew the other shoulder as well in the same way. Once I'm done with both shoulders, sewing both the shoulders, I will start to crochet the arms. The marker shows the last row that I did in rounds. So you see here that I have the continuation of the front panel and of the back panel. You see here that this is the stitch, that continues for the front panel, and then there is the stitch that continues for the back panel. I'm going to insert the hook right there in between these two holes. I cannot explain exactly with words, and I will do 3 chain stitches, and this actually is my first stitch. So I'm going to work the connection between two holes, between two rows, I will say. Okay, so this is the connection. I will work one front post double crochet there. And because I have 22 rows, that means I have 22 connections. So that means I'm going to do, and I'm going to work 21 front post double crochets, because one is the 3 chain stitches that I did at the beginning. Okay, so grab your connections one by one and crochet front post double crochet until we arrive at the place where we did the sewing. So your work is going to look like this. Once I arrive at the shoulder, I will insert the hook where I have the full sewing there. It's a little bit of space, but you have to do one front post double crochet there as well. So we are done with one side, and we are going to crochet the other side of the arm, again 22 front post double crochets. Continue until the end. Once I did 22, I will have the 3 chain stitches, insert the hook on stitch number 3 and do a slip stitch. So in total you are going to have 45 front post double crochet stitches for the whole arm. This is how it is going to look like. We are going to work the arms in rounds. So that means all front post double crochet. So we're going to do the second round, 3 chain stitches, and of course the next stitch, front post double crochet. Keep crocheting front post double crochet all around until you have 45 front post double crochets, including the 3 chain stitches that you did for the connection. Keep crocheting until you have 34 rounds. So here we are, I finished 34 rounds with front post double crochet, and now I'm going to crochet the cuff, which is another 3 rounds. Okay, so I'm going to start the pattern for 35th round. I will do 3 chain stitches, and then I'm going to do 1 front post double crochet in the next stitch, and then the pattern continues, 1 front post double crochet, but I will skip the second one. I will do it on the third one. And next 1 front post double crochet, and then again skip. So we are going to have between 2 front post double crochets, we're going to skip one. This is the pattern. So now we are going to skip 1 front post, and then we will crochet 1 front post on the next one, and then again 1 front post double crochet, skip 1 stitch, 1 front post double crochet, and again front post double crochet. So you can see the pattern that I am going to do. I will skip 1 front post double crochet. In total all around I will have 30 front post. Okay, once I arrive at the end, you can do insert the hook in chain number 3 and slip stitch, but I did kind of like a front post double crochet, inserting the hook from the back to the front and slip stitch. You see how I do it? And then you have a slip stitch. Now we are going to start a row 36. So this is how it looks like, because it shows already like the balloon. Okay, so we're going to do 3 chain stitches for row 36, and then we are going to skip 1 stitch and front post double crochet, skip 1 stitch and front post double crochet, and again skip 1 stitch and front post double crochet. This is the pattern that we are going to follow. So we are kind of making the half of the stitches. This is totally optional because my wrist is very small, but you can do less decreases if you want to. Just check your wrist. Okay, in my case, I did half of it because I want it very, very tight, to be very tight on my wrist. but you can just skip every other stitch. You don't have to skip every stitch that I do. So in total, all around, I will have 15 stitches. So skip one, one front post double crochet, skip one stitch, front post double crochet, keep crocheting all around until you arrive at the end. And right here at the end, we are going to connect again, inserting from the back to the front and slip stitch. So I finished round 36, and round 37 is totally optional as well, because maybe you don't need this one. I'm just going to repeat the same amount of stitches, 3 chain stitches, and I'm going to do front post double crochet on every stitch. If you don't want to, you can just skip row 37. So front post double crochet on every stitch. In total 15 stitches in my case. So once you finish the 37th row, just do a slip stitch and connect the last stitch with the first stitch, and then do one chain stitch, pull up some yarn and cut, and then you have the puff sleeve. So you do the same in the other side. This is how your work it is going to look like once you finish both arms. And now on to the neck. Okay, so turn your work from the back, and at the back we are going to start and crochet the first row for the neckline. So get the stitch in the middle of the back part of the neck and crochet 3 chain stitches, and then keep crocheting front post double crochet stitches until you arrive at the sewing part. We don't do any increases or decreases here, just keep crocheting from the middle until you arrive at the sewing stitch. Once you arrive at the section that we have done the sewing, do a front post double crochet right there in between the sewing. And then we are going to continue and crochet the side of the neck from the front part, where we have the 7 rows. For these 7 rows, we are going to use this pattern. Right there where we have the hole, we are going to do one double crochet, and then at the connection of 2 rows, 1 front post double crochet. You can see here. And then just follow this pattern. At the hole, 1 double crochet, and at the connection of 2 rows, 1 front post double crochet. So your work it is going to look like this with the pattern that I just told you. Keep crocheting this pattern until you arrive at the end of the 7 rows. Once you finish at the side, it will look a little bit ruffly, but that's okay. And then do a front post double crochet in diagonal right there where I put the fingers. Do a front post double crochet. Once we are done with the pattern of the left side, we are going to do the 15 stitches, which are just crocheted on each stitch 1 front post double crochet until we arrive at the last stitch, and then we will do the same pattern on the right side as we did on the left side. So let's continue 15 front post double crochet stitches. So we arrived for the other side. We are going to do the same pattern as we did on the left side. So we are going to do this front post double crochet right in this diagonal that I put the fingers. And then we are going to continue the same pattern. In the hole, 1 double crochet, and in between the 2 rows, 1 front post double crochet. So we will follow this pattern until at the end of the 7 rows of the right shoulder from the front side. Once we arrive where we have the sewing, there again we're going to do one front post double crochet where we insert the hook from the side of the sewing, just like this, as I'm showing you with the finger. So we will do one front post double crochet there, as I'm showing you. And then for the remaining stitches on the back, just continue crocheting front post double crochet and connect with the first stitch that we did in the back. Okay, so to do that, I will just insert the hook from the back to the front and do a slip stitch. So now I can start and crochet the second round for the neck shaping. 3 chain stitches, and then continue crocheting front post double crochet until you arrive at the stitch that we did the sewing. Your work is going to look like this. And now we are going to start the pattern for the left side of the neck. Actually, in the second row of the pattern, we are just going to decrease all those double crochet stitches that we did in the first row. So we are going to skip the double crochet and crochet the front post double crochet. So this is the pattern that we are going to follow. Skip the double crochet of the previous row and crochet a front post double crochet. Continue that until you finish all the 7 rows of the left side. Your work is going to look like this. And then turn your work and work the front 15 stitches. So the pattern is going to follow 15 front post double crochet stitches now, and then once we do those 15 front post double crochet, we are going to crochet the right side of the neck, and we are going to follow the same pattern that we did on the left side. We are going to decrease all those double crochet stitches. We are going to work like this. First, all 15 front post double crochet stitches until you arrive at the other side of the neck. And now we start the pattern for the right side of the neck. So skip the double crochet and front post double crochet. This is the same pattern of the left side. Continue crocheting until you arrive at the stitch of the sewing, the connection of the sewing until there. And this is how your neck it is going to look like after doing the second round. And now we have left. Turn your work on the back, and it's left just the small portion of the back part, which is just front post double crochet stitches until you arrive at the first stitch that you did. And when you arrive there, you just have to do the same thing that you did before. A slip stitch with inserting the hook from the back to the front. Keep crocheting front post double crochet until you arrive at the first stitch of the round. Okay, let's connect with a slip stitch inserting the hook from the back. This is how your work it is going to look like. Let me turn from the front side. I'm going to do a third row, but this is totally optional, so I'm just going to go one round with no increases or no decreases. So on each stitch, one front post double crochet. Here it is, it's finished, and now I'm going to start the pattern for the border. This is a kind of neck that you can go as a mock neck, or you can go higher even as a turtleneck. It just continue crocheting without doing any more increases or decreases. It's all up to you. So let's start and crochet the border. For the border, I'm going to work in rounds, of course, with front post double crochet all around and I will start from the bottom and I will work 2 rows from the bottom up. So I am going to get the first stitch at the side and I'm going to tangle there the yarn and crochet 3 chain stitches. And on this round I am just going to crochet on each stitch 1 front post double crochet all around. Once I arrived at the end of the round, I will do a slip stitch inserting the hook from the back to the front of the first double crochet stitch that we did. Now it's the turn for the second round. In this round I'm going to do first 3 chain stitches, of course. In this round I'm going to do some decreases. So the second stitch I'm going to do a front post double crochet, the third stitch again 1 front post double crochet, and the fourth stitch 1 front post double crochet. After the fourth stitch front post double crochet, I am going to skip 1 stitch and repeat again the same 4 front post double crochets. So I will skip 1 stitch every 4 stitches. I am going to do this because I want to have a little bit of like a puffiness at the end too, but this is totally optional. You can just go straight and not doing any decreases. You see the pattern, how it looks like once it's repeated just twice. You can continue this pattern all around until you arrive at the beginning of this round. So I will just skip 1 stitch and front post double crochet, and I will do another 3 front post double crochet. Okay, I will meet you once I'm done repeating this pattern over and over again at the end of the round. And once I arrive at the end, I will do the same connection, inserting from the first stitch from the back to the front, slip stitch, pull up some yarn, cut the yarn, and after that I have to sew in all the ends that I have of this sweater, not just this end. So now let me show you how the sweater looks like.